everyone, this is the mind of Lilith, and thank you for joining me today. I wanted to discuss how confident women can become victims of narcissism. And it isn't always insecure, broken women who fall for the narcissists. Sometimes they target women who have their stuff together, because these types of women, like celebrities or professionals or entrepreneurs, they are a great source of supply. And not only does the woman make them look good when she's successful, the narc likes the idea of a strong, powerful woman who doesn't need them, ultimately groveling for them after they have been psychologically and emotionally abused and manipulated. And in essence, a powerful, beautiful, successful, confident woman makes the narcissist look better. He looks better by default, right? By association. He doesn't have to do anything but show up with someone like a Wendy Williams or a Mary J. Blige or a Jill Scott or Tasha Smith or even a Melody Holt. And, he can automatically get praise and respect for snagging a woman of that caliber. A couple days ago, I talked about how narcissists use deceptive honesty to convince their partners that they're remorseful for their actions. And many times women mistake honesty or telling the truth with sincerity, which is when someone actually believes in what they're saying. But for the narcissist, the name of the game is always confusion. It's always confusion. And this is how they stay in control of the woman's thoughts and emotions. So if your emotions and your thoughts are confused and in conflict with what you see in your reality, you will put up with things you never thought you would. Now, how does a confident, successful woman become confused all of a sudden, right? She spent her entire life focused on her goals, her career, her talents, her skills. She's disciplined. She has knowledge. But when it comes to this guy, she's all of a sudden a mess. What happened? So, most narcissists are smart enough to pretend to be good guys in the beginning of their relationship because they don't want to scare their prey away. To get the woman hooked on them emotionally and psychologically, the narcissist love bombs their partner to get her emotionally attached and invested in the relationship. And most importantly, she's attached to the idea of his presence in her life. And that's very crucial because if she wants him in her life, she will put up with almost anything to keep him there. So in the beginning of the relationship, most narcissists are the perfect guy, okay? They're attentive, protective, nurturing, patient, romantic, considerate, fun, funny, sexy, all this good stuff. They'll call you in the morning, they'll check up on you in the afternoon for a surprise romantic lunch date, and they will pick you up after work in the evening. You go on vacations, romantic dinners. It's awesome, right? They convince you that you are on their mind throughout the whole day. They enjoy spending time with you, that you're important to them. And, a lot of times they're good in bed and they spend money on you. They are spontaneous. They're enjoyable to be around. It's like great in the beginning of the relationship. So inevitably, the woman starts to feel good around this man. And most confident, successful people want someone to share their lives with. That's not a bad thing, okay? You don't have to be insecure to want to be in a relationship. There's a difference between the first and fifth and seventh houses in astrology for a reason. So just because you want to be with somebody doesn't mean you're a pick-me. But if you're willing to degrade and disrespect yourself to be in a relationship, then that's the problem. So naturally, if you're with an attractive, spontaneous, attentive, and loving partner who makes your life more colorful, you're going to look forward to spending time with them. And at this point, when you see them or think about them, you feel happier. And some of you guys may even feel lucky and blessed. Like, oh my God, out of all the women in the world, he chose me, right? Even if he's 50 years old at this point with a cemetery full of skeletons in his closet, women feel special when a man dotes on her. And that is the ploy that narcs use to get the confident woman emotionally and psychologically entangled with him. And that's when the games start, okay? So once the narc knows that she's looking forward to seeing him, that's when he slowly starts to show his ass. First, he may pull back and call less, right? In the beginning, he will call or text 4 times a day. Then it's twice a day. then once maybe, and then his responses become more delayed. They're not as loving. They're abrupt. They're curt, right? He's not as attentive. He's not as patient. He starts to nitpick you about things he once complimented you for, like the way you dressed and your weight and your confidence. And naturally, the woman who is inexperienced with this behavior will start to blame herself. She's like, what happened? What did I do to push you away? Why did you change all of a sudden? How can I fix this? What can I do to make you feel about me the way you used to when we first met? And that is exactly how the narcissist wants this beautiful, confident, and successful woman to feel about herself. She has become so addicted to his presence in her life, right, to their experiences, that she's willing to question herself now and blame herself for something that she didn't even do. Okay? He has her exactly where he wants her. Okay? So now the beautiful, confident, successful woman begins to doubt herself. Okay? Because the narc needs her to be in an emotional state that is insecure, confused, desperate, hurt, and fearful, because that's how he always feels about himself. Always. Okay? Narcissists are pathologically insecure, so they need to make you feel insecure too to be more confident or secure within themselves. So they will break you down to ensure the longevity of their relationship, to keep you attached to them. Like when a woman is broken, she's loyal to BS. Okay? She's attached to the idea of making her man satisfied and winning him back, so that he can treat her the way he used to when he love bombed her in the beginning of the relationship. So now the beautiful, confident, successful woman is confused about who she is, and her own feelings and her own happiness is intertwined with this man who emotionally and psychologically manipulated her from the very first date. And she doesn't even know this at this point. She's not aware that she was getting played from the beginning. So at some point, the woman snaps out of it and she says, okay, I'm tired of this BS. Forget him. I was happier when I was by myself. And initially the narc says, okay, forget you too, because he's probably with somebody else that he has been hoovering over, which is why he didn't have as much time to get back to you after he love bombed you, right? So he's like, okay, forget you too then, whatever. But a week later or a month later or 2 months later, he'll begin to hoover her again, and he'll text her how much he misses her. He'll play on her nostalgia, talking about the good old days when he was love bombing her. And sometimes he'll do this while he's with the other women that's probably been in the relationship the entire time, or for a long period of time, right? Unbeknownst to you. So now he's returning to you after he discarded you, okay? And he's probably doing this after he finished love bombing the girl he just reconciled with, was a new girl. So he's going to come back to you, and then he's going to admit everything he did wrong. Now, mind you, during the relationship, when you were looking for answers and you were desperately trying to fix things, you allowed this man to disrespect you. And he acted like he didn't know what he was doing wrong. Sometimes he even dismissed you or ignored your complaints, or he placed all the blame on you. Well, if you were doing this, I wouldn't have done that. You're spoiled, you're needy, you're insecure, you're paranoid. All the while, he's actively pursuing or dating other women, which is why he has less time for you, right? He had less time for you because he was talking to somebody else. But he convinced you were paranoid for noticing the difference in his behavior. And he was like, I don't know what's going on. I'm working. I'm busy. You're insecure. I just saw you last week, whatever, right? He switches it up. So as I mentioned in the Deceptive Honesty video, when the narcissist hoovers and tries to come back after you leave him, he will confess his sins and he will tell you everything he did wrong. He'll give you a sob story about something that happened in his past with other girls or during his childhood, and that is why he has a hard time connecting with his feelings, and it's hard for him to maintain relationships, and it's hard to trust people. And he'll pretend to be remorseful just to convince you to reconcile with him so that you can get the old feeling again. The feeling you had when you first met him and he love bombed you, right? You'll feel sorry for him, and you'll probably fall for him even more. You'll love him even more because now he's being vulnerable and he's showing how wounded he is. And when men do this, This activates the maternal instinct in most women, which again is exactly what the narcissist wants. This is level 2, okay? Because mothers, or most mothers, would never abandon their children. So now that your maternal instinct has been triggered, you're even more emotionally invested in the relationship. As a matter of fact, you begin to feel like a bad person for wanting to leave your abusive partner, because they'll also tell you that their lives are miserable without you. They'll tell you they need you. They're suffering without you. And most times they'll tell you these things after they left the other woman's house. Or in some extreme cases, they'll tell you this while they're with the other woman, in her bed or on a date or whatever. So when a woman gets maternal, she becomes protective, like Melody was of Martel. And the woman will want to protect not only the narc's feelings, but she'll also work hard to protect the relationship because she is invested in a specific outcome, despite the crappy quality of the relationship. So if the goal or the desired outcome is getting married, you'll stay with this person regardless of what happens, right? And Whitney Williams definitely did this, right? And so did Whitney Houston. The marriage itself becomes a part of the woman's identity, and the narcissist knows this, and he uses this against her. So again, the goal of narcissistic abuse is confusion. They need you to be confused because now you'll second guess your own common sense and your own instincts, okay? You basically question your own reality, and now you can't take a decisive action to end your own suffering because you're emotionally and psychologically married to the person who is causing you pain. And to make matters worse, because your maternal instinct is activated, you also want to protect the narcissist from the consequences of their own actions, because your confident and beautiful self can see how pitiful they are without you. And you know that they'll be nothing without you. And that hurts you because you love them. And again, you want to protect them from feeling the weight of their own deep, dark insecurities. And the narcissist loves that. Now he knows for sure that you're not going to leave him without a pound of flesh, or without losing a pound of flesh. And what does that pound of flesh look like, right? It could be torturous emotional and psychological abuse. It could be financial abuse, side babies, girlfriends, STDs, bankruptcy. And I talked about a woman named Shantiri Weems who shot her husband after he molested the children in her daycare center. Okay, that's a pound of flesh. Now, I lost my freedom, I lost my business, I lost my reputation, all because I stayed with this narcissistic, insecure man. Okay, that's the pound of flesh I'm talking about. They want you to lose a part of yourself that's very valuable in order to leave that relationship. And that's what they want, to cut you down to size, to make you smaller, more diminished, weaker, right? Less attractive to other men. They want to destroy the very thing within you that made you confident and successful in the first place, because they don't have that within themselves, okay? These men will drag you into hell, hoping to destroy your beauty and your confidence in the process, just so they can feel better about themselves. Remember that men are Martian by nature, and Martians are warriors. They fight. They want to win. Some men will fight with their fists, and others will fight with their words. But the name of the game is usually dominance and control. And in order to dominate and control a beautiful and successful woman, you first have to confuse her, okay? And the narcissist uses every weapon at their disposal to do that, including telling the truth about their indiscretions. But they're not sincere. They don't think they actually did anything wrong, right? And I mentioned Martel the other day. Martel apologized to Melody multiple times, and then when they got into arguments, he blamed her for continuing to cheat, which means that he did not really think he was wrong for doing so in the first place. And he admitted that to Dr. Francis, right? All the apologies, I'm sorry. Melody finally leaves because he's not changing his behavior, because when you're sorry, you change your behavior. That reflects in your actions, right? But because you don't believe that you're actually wrong in what you're doing, you're not going to change. And that's where Melody got caught up. And most women get caught up because if you're telling the truth, it must mean that you know you were wrong. And if you know you're wrong, you're going to change your behavior, right? No, they may know they're wrong, but they don't believe they were doing the wrong thing. They know they're wrong technically, like, okay, this is what I did to hurt you, but they don't actually believe they were wrong. They think they're justified in doing what they did. That's the problem, okay? So they want to give you the impression that they want you badly enough to take accountability for their wrongdoings. And you automatically assume that once they realize they're the problem, they'll change to fix the problem that they created. But they knew they were the problem the entire time. They just gaslit you into thinking they had no idea what was going on and you were being paranoid, or it was your fault. The narcissist operates in a different paradigm. His idea of reality is totally different from yours. And so in order for you to see things his way, he has to abuse you and break you down psychologically and emotionally to the point where you understand his bullshit and you feel sorry for him. And you think it makes sense. Oh, I understand why he cheated now because, I wasn't there for him. Nonsense like that, right? You justify your own abuse because now the narcissist has convinced you to think the way they do in their warped mind, okay? They gaslight you into thinking they had no idea what was going on or you were being paranoid. It was your fault. And that's why I call it deceptive or weaponized honesty, because although they're doing the right thing by being honest, they're doing it for the wrong reason, which is to manipulate you and to maintain control over you, okay? So this is how women on top of their game in every other area of their life can fall for a weak, manipulative, broke narcissist, because they're the masters of masking their true feelings, thoughts, and intentions until they think you're not going anywhere, either by you getting pregnant or getting married to them or whatever, right? They want to make sure that in order for you to leave them, you have to lose a whole lot, right? Your reputation, your marriage, your health even. That's where they want to get you. And that is an insurance policy for them. So what is the solution for this? The first thing you have to do to avoid this problem or to avoid being manipulated to this extent is to get rid of the fake future fantasy that the narc sold you in the beginning of the relationship. The fantasy of happily ever after, marriage, white picket fence, perfect life, whatever. They are banking on your belief and investment in the ideal to keep you tethered to this abusive relationship. Because now you don't want to let that go either, right? So they love bombed you and they played on your desire to have that family unit or that fantastical life with a partner to share your wealth with and success with. They banked on that to keep you tethered and anchored to this relationship that's not working out for you. Okay. So you have to let go of, your attachment to a specific outcome for your life, for this person in general. Okay. Let that go. And you have to establish boundaries, rules, and parameters at the outset of the relationship. So whatever you said you weren't going to tolerate before you met this person, make sure you stick to that afterwards. Don't let your feelings for him override your critical thinking, because that's exactly what the narcissist is banking on. You feeling, right? You relying on your emotions to lead you out of the dark instead of you using your own intellect and common sense to illuminate the truth about this person's true nature and intent. Have friends and family around you that you can trust to tell you the truth, not people who are bitter and jealous of you having a man, regardless of how crappy the man is. No, but talk to people who want the best for you, who will protect you at all costs. Don't let the narcissist play with your intelligence either, okay? And don't look to the narcissist for closure, peace, or validation of your own experiences. You know what you went through. And you know what he did to you. You don't need him to acknowledge that. You waiting for him to say, I was wrong for this, is going to keep you effed up in the game for a very long time. Even after you leave him, you'll be like tortured by this guy, right? You're wanting him to answer questions that he's not going to answer. It's up to you. It's your responsibility to give yourself closure, okay? It's your responsibility to restore and preserve your own peace. They're not going to do it for you. And if they do it for you, again, it's a weaponized attempt to manipulate you and control you again. So yes, I'm sorry for what I did. I was wrong. But they're doing that to ingratiate themselves with you again so that you can open the door for reconciliation. It's not about you getting peace. No, they are always about manipulation and control, period. Alright guys, I'm gonna leave it there. I look forward to reading your comments. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will speak to you soon.